Hello, I am Alessio Cavicchi. I'm a professor in agribusiness, rural development and branding at University of Pisa. And I'm also the Rector's Delegate for the promotion of entrepreneurial education and innovation in charge of the Contamination Lab. That is the hub for co-creation between students, researchers, and entrepreneurs in my university. I'm a member of the Pisa Agricultural Economics Group. This is a group of researchers from 3 different departments at the University of Pisa. We share an interest in socioeconomic research, in agriculture, innovation and food and rural development, and we also collaborate in various research, teaching and outreach activities. Today I'm going to tell you something about our research, so innovation in agri-food, trying to explore the need for place-based innovation processes when we want to support innovation in the agri-food sector. Let's start from the concept of place-based innovation. Well, in the last 2 decades, the European Union started to focus on societal challenges, on regional and territorial development, and on global competitiveness. This can happen according to the last regulations and last communications of the European Commission, starting from the scratch, starting from the ground, so with a bottom-up approach. Bottom-up approach that seeks some benefits from the collectivity, seeks some benefits for different stakeholders, for cities, regions, through a strategy that starts from them, starts from the population, starts from these stakeholders, and trying to explore niches, some elements of differentiation in order to exploit at best and to valorize at best its resources. This is very important when we deal with a sustainable food system. Bottom-up approaches and sustainable food systems are very connected, because a sustainable food system is a food system that delivers food and nutrition security for all in such a way that economic, social and environmental basis to generate food security and nutrition for future generations are not compromised. So we have the definition of sustainability, the classic definition that we all know, and this definition is applied to a specific context, a specific region, where all these flows of tourism, So we have the classic definition of sustainability that is integrated in a system where all these flows of food are brought to the population in a way that should be sustainable. It is not an easy task, it is a very complex issue, and in fact when we deal with sustainable food systems, we need to take care also to different sectors like agriculture, food transformation, rural lifestyles, welfare of rural communities, landscapes and tourism, just to cite a few of these sectors that are involved in a sustainable food system. And so we are dealing with the so-called wicked problems. Wicked problems are issues which are highly complex, where there's not a definitive solution. We cannot find the exact causes and the exact problems that are generating these big troubles, and are difficult to understand and frame. So the problem is that we need to find solutions that are open-ended. We need to find solutions that imply a huge stakeholder engagement, and the problem solving is very complex, and we need good actors, good innovation brokers who can try to put together all these people and try to help them to find good solutions. So multi-stakeholder actions are important, and the European Commission is providing some resources to carry on these approaches involving civil societies, business, governmental institutions who come together in order to find a common approach to an issue that affects them all. So it's important to set up structure, working methods, it's important to set up the so-called living labs. Living labs as open innovation ecosystems in real-life environments using iterative feedback processes throughout a life cycle approach of an innovation to create and co-create a sustainable impact. The focus so is on co-creation, prototyping, testing, scaling up innovation and businesses, and providing joint value to the involved stakeholders, to all the involved stakeholders. So, as we can see, innovation is not linear at all. Innovation requires different actors, requires different players along the supply chain, the food supply chain, and innovation requires also an interaction between stakeholders also outside of the food system, the agri-food system. So Europe is providing a lot of resources through the so-called missions. So for instance, there is the mission of soil, because it is estimated, for instance, that between 60% and 70% of EU soils are unhealthy. And soil is probably the most fragile resource that needs to be carefully managed and safeguarded for future generations. So that means big troubles, big issues to be faced, also thanks to the technology. So on one side, the involvement of different players, different actors, on the other side, the need of technology. Here we want to stress some classifications of innovation in the agri-food system, starting from an approach that has been developed by Calterra Capital. Calterra Capital is a provider of landscapes of innovation. It's an advisory firm focused on tech-driven innovation across the food system. And well, there are also other interesting advisory firms, other consultant agencies that you can find here, and you can find different classifications of this landscape. But let's start from the farm tech. In this picture, you can see at least three levels of farmer activities. So farm tech is about digital agronomy and production, planning and farm management, and market access and financing. The digital agronomy and production, this domain encompasses much of the Internet of Things, robotics, automation, and remote sensing activity. In planning and farm management, this domain intersect different sectors, like for instance digital agronomy, resource management and business planning and execution, and then market access and financing, where there are tools and technologies used by farmers, farm managers and crop buyers to access markets and financing. So this is a huge landscape, and you can see several logos that are related to startup companies and to multinational companies as well. Of course, there is a life cycle of many of these companies that is very short, because innovations happens. You can find many inventions, for instance, in the university settings, in the research and innovation setting, and so you can always develop new innovative solutions. And so even the life cycle of many of these companies is not so long, but it's an interesting and inspiring sector, of course. Another mapping is related to the food supply chain tech landscape, where you can find 4 different domains. First mile, that is the supply, so for instance, harvest forecasting, logistics, producer order management, monitoring, quality and safety control, B2B procurement, as well as trade analytics technologies. Then the second domain is production, where you can find ERP, manufacturing automation and robotics, as well as manufacturing operations management technology, the MOM technologies. The third domain is logistics, and distribution, and so the supply chain analytics, cold chain logistics, warehouse automation, vendor order management, logistics marketplaces, for instance, and finally the demand. So the retail, food service, and the demand of consumers, and so all the companies that can arise in the food and beverage demand data analytics, the demand planning and management, the omni-channel, the food recovery technologies. So many different domains with many sub-domains where you can find different solutions provided by companies. It's an interesting environment, it's an interesting landscape. But all these innovations and the creation of new companies, where do they bring us? What is the final destination? In the recent report of the Future of Food and Agriculture that has been published by the FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, there is a sort of analysis of major drivers of agri-food systems. This report explores how their trends could determine alternative futures of agri-food, socio-economic and environmental systems. So here the fundamental message of this report that I strongly recommend to read is that it's still possible to push agri-food system along a pattern of sustainability and resilience if key triggers of transformation are properly activated. That means leaving the short-term outlook perspective and start thinking about the medium, long-run, long-term perspective by involving different stakeholders, as we were saying at the beginning of this lesson. So, which are the scenarios that we can observe that are being outlined by FAO? 4 scenarios. The first one is more of the same, MOS. So there is in this scenario there are some problems, there are some issues, because if we leave the things as they are now, as they are currently, the poor living conditions for a large number of people are going to increase in the long run. The likelihood, the possibility of systemic failures. So it's not the most promising scenario, of course. Then there is another scenario that is the adjust future, some moves towards sustainable agri-food systems that will be triggered in an attempt to achieve Agenda 2030 goals. We can observe some improvements in terms of well-being that can be obtained, but there is a lack of overall sustainability and systemic resilience. And so even in this case, these problems, these issues can create a problem and a maintenance of sustainability in the long run. Then there is another scenario that is race to the bottom, RAB, where some wrong decisions can lead the world to the worst version of itself after the collapse of substantial parts of socioeconomic, environmental, and agri-food system. And of course, all these scenarios are not the top that we can expect in our life and in the life of the future generations. But there is also some space for hope. So the trading off for sustainability, the TOS, and as you can see in the top right of this diagram, well, there are some principles: awareness, education, social commitment, sense of responsibility, participation, and critical thinking that can trigger new power relationships and shift the development paradigm in most countries. So this is, of course, the most desirable outcome of the current situation, and it requires bottom-up approaches, requires the adoption of structured working method, also with students, also with our citizens in our regions. So, to sum up, Technological innovations are part of the solutions, and as we saw in the classification, in the landscapes provided by Culterra, but even if they are accessible to the more vulnerable people, they have to be granted on one side, but we need to grant also a distribution of the income that this technological innovation can generate. So this is a crucial point for our system, for the future of the world. We cannot rely only on technology in the food sector as the panacea for all the problems, because it could be a risky strategy for the future of next generations. So I hope to have provided some insights, starting from well-known reports and resources that you can explore on the web by yourself. And please don't hesitate to contact me if you need further information or if you are curious to develop new research together. Thanks to the Strascheg Center for this great opportunity.